Best of r/malicious compliance episode 61. Subscribe for edit videos daily. I work in a call center environment. An amazing place called Collections. Not just any collections. Car loans. This conversation was today and goes as followed. Stupid idiot is customer and I am rep. Phone rings. Stupid idiot. Hello? Rep. Hi, I am calling from the car place. May I speak to stupid idiot? Stupid idiot. UHEA dis her. Rep. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm reaching out to you because you are 45 days past due on your car payment and I were. Stupid idiot. Why the fuck y'all keep calling me? Y'all call me 3 times a day harassing me. Fuck y'all. Rep. I am sorry about that, ma'am. I will remove your number from our system. You'll be up for repossession after today. Goodbye. Stupid idiot. Why dial tone? TL. Dr. Lady driving around in a 2020 Porsche gets mad at us for reminding her she's late on her payment. Asks why we keep calling and tells us we're harassing her, so I remove her number when she's up for repossession the next day. Thank you. Next. This is an ongoing battle between me and my boss. I work in website management. I was hired by this company on salary to update, publish, and generally keep content flowing on their site. I show up at 9 AM. And I can usually get my day-to-day work done fairly quickly, and I'm usually out the door around 4:30. I don't normally take a lunch break because I'd rather just get my shit done and go home. My boss pulled me aside and told me we expect you to stay for the full 8 hours each day. That's what we paying you for. She then went on to acknowledge that I don't take lunch and that my productivity is fine. She then said, with your ADD, I don't know if you're even capable of doing 40 hours of work each week. So, I used to come in, work from 9-4:30 without stopping, aside from bathroom breaks and coffee top-ups. They were getting 7-5 hours of work out of me. Now, since I'm required to be here for my full 8 hours, I come in at 9 and leave at 5. I take the entire hour of my lunch off and if bothered simply reply I'm on lunch right now. Come back at 1. That means I'm only working for 7 hours each day. Congratulations, Karen, not her real name. You just talked yourself out of an extra half hour a day of work from me. That's 5 hours of productivity a week you just screwed yourself out of. Thank you. Next. So my school made this dumb rule that nobody can have a water or drink bottle with them because a couple seniors got caught drinking vodka at school. The only exception is if you have a form signed by your doctor saying there's a medical reason you need it. And carry the note with you whenever you have a water bottle so you can show it to teachers or administration. Now, my doctor who I have my yearly checkup with is also one of my mom's best friends, and last week she and her daughter were coming around to hang out with our family. I was telling her and my mom about the school rule and they thought it was silly too. My doctor was talking about how unhealthy it was to not let kids drink water all day, and sell them sugary sodas at lunch. I asked if she'd sign a doctor's note allowing me a water bottle and she said of course. So I printed out the form and she signed it. There was a section saying to describe the medical need and she wrote water is necessary for life, which my mom thought was funny but also thought might get the note rejected. Like it was obviously meant for specific medical conditions or disabilities. But she said that if anyone had a problem with it, to have them call her and they'd get a piece of her mind. So I took the note to school and a bunch of teachers told me I couldn't have a water bottle and I said I had a note. Most of them didn't read it closely enough to see the reason, but out of the 2 that did, one laughed about it and asked if it was real. I said it was. She could call the number on the form. She seemed satisfied. The other teacher threatened to take the note away, saying medical exemptions were not a joke. It was a disrespectful thing to do. Disrespectful to the school's rules and disrespectful to people who had an actual medical need, to treat it as a joke. I know my doctor hadn't meant it as a joke about actual medical problems. Hater for bringing a sassy doctor's note to school. It said my medical need to be allowed to have a water bottle was water is necessary for life. Thank you. Next. So this took place over a decade ago. I was 18, living with my old man and his current wife. Things weren't going too well for me. I would misbehave and get in trouble all the time. When his current wife said I wasn't allowed to use the washer and dryer, I started to hand wash my uniform. My old man said I could sneak my laundry in with his since we worked at the same place and were the same size. I was fat. I knew it. When an argument broke out with his current wife, he would get physical with me, shove me, and go, "If you want to fight, fight me." Things weren't good at home. He said many things like this all the time. So on to the malicious compliance. After school one day, I was in another argument with his current wife. I refused to back down from this one. Like all of them, my old man finally stepped in. He came out of his room and shoved me. My feet left the ground and I landed a good 5 feet away. He issued his standard threat of, "If you want to fight, fight me." I responded with, "I don't want to fight." So he then turned to his second common line. "If you don't like it here, then leave." So I did. I found out about a month later when I finally called my grandmother that he filed a missing person report on me. It took almost a year before I finally talked to him. He told me he didn't expect me to leave. He said I left like a thief in the night. The way I see it, he gave me permission to leave, so I did. Edit. Answering questions. I didn't call anyone I knew for a month. I moved in with a friend. I didn't know if I could trust my grandmother. This was a small town. This happens at home, not at work. My old man and I don't work the same hours. I was at school when he was at work. He was friends with the owner. Thank you. Next. I worked as a bank teller. The other tellers were all female. Our sales and service manager expected us to greet customers warmly the second they entered. From across the bank. "Hello there, hi. Welcome to US Bank." It was even turned into a competition when he heard/noticed tellers greeting customers. He gave them a point on his tally. My greeting strategy was to wait for initial eye contact after they entered the building and began approaching my window, then say hello in a friendly way, and give a polite little head nod and smile. This was apparently unsatisfactory. I was talked to because I wasn't bubbly enough. It was pointed out to me how well the other tellers were greeting people walking in, how many points they all had accumulated, and I was told I needed to be more like my female co-workers. This sounded great in theory, but I am a 6'4", 290 pounds male and I knew it would be easy to show them the error of their ways. The next person entering the bank received a bellowing sing-song "Hi there, welcome to USBANKKK" from 60 feet away, with a dozen people in between. To say it startled the shit out of everyone in the bank would be an understatement. I was informed my polite hello and nod would be fine going forward. Thank you. Next. Backstory. I worked at a coffee stand inside of a grocery store and I was allowed to ring and void the products from the store. I only had 10 voids before I needed to call a manager so they can use their key to unlock my register. This lady comes at my register and says that she's in a rush. She then places a plate of cookies down. When I scan the item, she says that they are too expensive and runs to get another plate. Before I can tell her that I may be unable to void the first plate. When she comes back I explain to her that if I ring up this plate that I may not be able to void the first plate without a manager key. "Lady, I'm in a rush. I just need to buy these cookies but the first plate is too expensive." Me, "I know, but the front is busy, you'll have to wait for a manager to bring the key." "Lady, I'm in a rush." Me, "Okay." I scan the second plate of cookies. They are a whole penny cheaper. So I try to void the first plate, and you can guess what happened. I needed the manager's key. This lady made herself late over a whole penny. Me grinning like a bandit. Unfortunately, I need a manager's key, and since the front is busy you have to wait. "Lady, I'm in a rush. Can't you void it?" Me still grinning. "Nope, I have to wait. I am terribly sorry for the inconvenience." Eventually a manager did come by and she got her cookies, but serves you right for not paying attention to prices before you buy them, and acting like a penny is a true loss to your budget. Thank you. Next. Backstory. Very close female friend of mine had some issues with an abusive father her entire life. Nothing sexual or anything like that. Mostly very horrible verbal abuse that on occasion turned physical. So knowing all about this, I already don't like this guy. After we finished school and she moved out he developed a drinking habit, which also involved the bad friends that sometimes goes with that. Doing coke at parties on the weekend. He quickly lost his career and burned through his savings, possessions and most of his properties. Then he started dropping by her house to take things of value to go pawn off to satisfy his addiction. I'm talking cell phones, TVs, jewelry. She's terrified of him. Years of emotional abuse convinced her this is the least she could do as he spent money raising her. Long story short, one day we're all hanging out at her place, going over case files for consults, and in pops Dad.io. Makes a scene and starts putting random things in his bag. We confronted him and this is what followed. Him, who the do you think you are to tell me what I am allowed to do with my property? Not even his house. Me, you really degraded into the toe fungus of the earth, robbing your daughter like this. Yay toe fungus. IDK, just popped into my mind. The robbing part is what actually triggered him. He goes off beating on everyone, males and females. We might be doctors, but we're not opposed to creating a problem that we get to solve later on, so we ended up having a proper brawl. He slid out from between us like the little snake he is and ran off. Whilst making his way to the door, we shouted at him to drop the things he stole. Well FK all UCTS, sue me. So we did. Not in the exact definition of the word, but we did get the law involved. Called the cops and filed charges for breaking and entering, assault, theft, and the cops also added a couple of things. He did not end up doing time, but he was forced to go to rehab. He's actually a pretty nice guy now. Edit. I feel like and respect to him. I should note that he has been clean for about 7 years now. He still goes to therapy, working through some personal things and generally just someone impartial to talk to. I still don't like him entirely, but I respect the hard work and dedication he put into his treatment. Him getting help not only eventually made him a happier person, but also affected the lives of all 3 his children, his grandchildren, and many others in a very positive manner. I feel people forget that it's not all about them, but also the lives they affect, directly or indirectly.